Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video, and welcome back to the last round preview for the AFLW Fantasy season. I'm really proud to have gone through this whole season with you guys, basically putting on a camera what my moves were, etc., and how it went. Even though I didn't necessarily get the best result rank wise, it's also been interesting going through and doing the tipping as well, and having a different result to that of the men's, where I had a shocking run with the men's. But sort of a better run in terms of the men's fantasy. So sort of mixed results this year across the both of them, but really happy that I've been able to go through with you guys and document my every move basically. And I'm glad that I've also kept it pretty constant. I mean, I don't think I changed any of the tips. I don't think I changed any of my trades except for a late out or late in, which I'm pretty sure I would have put on Twitter those trades anyway, especially, well, I mean, I did that with the likes of Borg when that happened with her getting in, but obviously that didn't turn out the best. But anyway, so that pretty much is the introduction. But before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on, especially with the content that is coming up, with new content, etc. like that. And yeah, let's get into the video. So as you can see here, if I make this just a little bit bigger for you guys, there we go. That should be big enough, but let's make it one bigger. So we've got Thomas, Carney, Stannett, Evans, and Grant. Grant is coming in, and this was all just to upgrade Ham, and I wasn't happy that I had to give up heads, because giving up heads is going to be massive in the last round in my opinion. But Grant was the only one that I was like, I think this is actually a viable option where I might only lose 20 or so points to get her upgraded. And the annoying thing is now Ham's actually been slated to go in the midfield, so I wonder what her midfield time is going to be like. And I just want to look at what her midfield time last week was, because that I have a feeling that it's not going to be. Have they got it? They don't even have. It's Friday, and they don't even have the DFS round statistics from round 9. That's a pretty poor effort, in my opinion, with getting the stats out. But yeah, so Tani Evans survives because there's no one in that 400k range. My thoughts behind this was basically, if you look at the round totals, you got Aarons, Mitchell could have been, but then I wouldn't have been able to get Swanson, and it would have been a and Swanson, and you see here with the plus 1 million midfielders. I really wanted to get Bowers, as I wanted to take the punt on her knee. I could have actually gone Tiny Evans down to Egan, but I don't like Egan's consistency, to be honest with you. And I know Swanson isn't the most consistent, so but I have a feeling she'll do all right. I mean, has she played any other top sides at the moment? No, not really. So it's an interesting one. Didn't they play? She played Melbourne for a 60, so I might actually swap that around. Yeah, I might actually swap that around now, looking at it. So here we go. Let's see if I can get Tiny Evans to Grant. Grant, and then we go here. We go forward line as well, because we need to get Huntington's cash. So doing this, I didn't expect to do this on the fly, to be honest with you. But anyway, we just put a 300k there, and then we go to midfielders here, and we go players I can afford and get rid of Ham. And we have 1.032 million. So it's basically Hurley, Egan, Drennan. Bates is playing, I think, on the bench at the moment, or she's not even starting in the midfield. Hurley would be an interesting one. She's really come alive in the last little bit. But I think I'm going to choose Egan against Collingwood, just because that. And is that probably a better side now, thinking about it? Yeah, that's probably a better side with Egan rather than Swanson. And I mean, I still have 18k left over, which sort of sucks that you can't utilize it all. But anyway, I think that's sort of the best side that I can produce, as I sort of wasn't able to get to Whitford. I don't think Whitford is 1.159. I'd have to go I'd have to go heads down and lower than Tiny Evans lower. But I still think Heads is a better player, better average than Evans at the moment. If we look at defenders and we look at averages, here we go. You'll see Tiny Evans is averaging slightly more than Heads, but the last three is 61 and the last three is 71. So I think there is a little bit of a gap there. And I do think, Tiny Evans against Port Adelaide could do relatively well, but Heads against the same opponent put up a 53. So I'd rather have Heads against Fremantle. Have they played Freo this year? Don't think they have. Has anyone here played Freo? Carney, has she played Freo? Doesn't look. She did 86 for her, and Charlotte Thomas did a 36 against Freo, but there was a lot of discounting factors there. So I'm pretty happy with that actually now thinking about it. Grant, I'm just taking a punt on her to be honest. Against North Melbourne, ball should be down there a lot. Hopefully she can get a lot of the ball and work her magic, I guess. Didn't help against the Swans that she put up a 15, but I think that's just an outlier to be honest with you. Then we move on to the midfield. Marinoff against West Coast is the captain, I believe. I think that's a good plan, to be honest. I don't know. I don't think or expect West Coast to even bother putting up you can put up a tag here, but I don't think it's really going to matter. She's got 2 scores below 124. That's just how ridiculous a season it was from Emily Marinoff. And yeah, if you take out that 91, she's averaging, I don't even want to know what she's averaging. If we look here, 1182 minus 91, divide that by 8, and she's averaging 136.375. That's just ridiculous. To think that her first round result, her first round score of 112 against Port would be her second lowest of the year so far going into the final round is just ridiculous. But I think I'm going to go, let me just check the schedule, because I need to actually put the captaincy on here. I did have it originally. I forgot what it was actually. So you got the early game North against Western Bulldogs, and then you have the 5:05 is the Marinoff game. Do we have any games on the Sunday that I'm thinking about? I might actually do this. Yeah, I'll do this. I'll do that because I have McCarthy who I can link through the captaincy, and Gardner's worst scores of the round. Worst scores have been 95, 93, 100, 113, 112. So she's still got 3 big scores and 3 110. So that's fine as a captain. As a backup, especially against Freo, where she should score well, and Marinoff against the Eagles should go nuts even through a tag, to be honest with you. I just wish that it was, if you could have flipped the West Coast versus Adelaide game and given me that on the 7:05 instead of the Brisbane-Melbourne game, I would have been happy to go a Garner into a Marinoff, but I have to go pick one, and I think Marinoff might just score more than Garner at, let's just see, have they played West Coast? No, they haven't. Have you played Western Bulldogs? Yes, you did for a 1-3-2. So yeah, I think it's gonna be the fact that I'm gonna go Marinoff over Garner or Riddell in this situation. Then we move on to the other midfielders, Prasparkas and Egan. Prasparkas not the most happy about that situation that's going on there with her picking her up. I thought she'd be better, but she obviously hasn't finished out the season that strongly. So picking up her was probably a mistake, especially trading her out. I could have had Whitford as well as probably, I could have had Whitford and then another. It wouldn't have been realised that gain. But, it would have been a little bit better, in my opinion, probably having Whitford and Egan over Prasparkas and Egan, but we'll see how the results turn out. Strom against Sydney should do really well with no ruckman. So yeah, hoping that she puts up a display there. Not enough that they lose the game, that the Swans lose the game, but enough that she puts up a good fantasy score, which is quite a conundrum to have as a fantasy player when your favourite team's playing a strong player in your lineup, is them scoring well, but the team not being affected. Gardner against Fremantle should do really well, and that's why she's got the captaincy on. Goldsworthy against Port Adelaide, I'm expecting a good score there. I almost went for another GWS player in the midfield, but I thought that was a little bit too weak to go for the GWS players. If I show you here, outside of Parker, you got Beatson at 69. If we look at the round points, if it will show, Beatson and Dalloway both got 85, and Eva got 59, Pease 49, Dalton 46. So I didn't like necessarily the look of Beatson, and I didn't necessarily also like the look of Dalloway anyway. So, and it was mostly their forward line that had the players that I thought would be decent. And Zarika's even out, so it might be, I haven't even looked at, I didn't even expect their lineup to be that different. So let's actually look at their team lineup and see what they've got going on in the middle. So they got Beatson, Bar, and Gomack. Let's just check. Gomack is a defender at 316. Let's actually just check this. Let's check. What are her midfield numbers like? Gomack, 44, 1, 3, and 8. She's done well in. And they do not correspond to any whatsoever like points. So that would be too much of a risk probably to downgrade there. But if I did downgrade, what could I get myself up to? I'd have another like 190k, so another 200k on Grant, basically. Another 200k on Egan, so 1.2 million. Would I be able to, let's check the midfield and just go by price, and I'd be able to basically get Bowers over Egan. Would that be enough points differential, basically? That's a tough one. Yeah, I'll think about that, obviously, but that could easily lose me a little bit of points. But obviously, Gomack could actually do really well and gain some points back. So yeah, I'll look at that and see how that pans out and see what's going on there. I just want to see what her Gomack's positioning was last week. Gomack was off the interchange, so when we get those numbers, I might make that change of Grant to Gomack and then Egan up to Bowers, because I think that would be potentially a better set of trades, but we'll see about that. And then we move down. Frederick against Richmond, she should do well. Malloy against Freo, she's starting in the forward line, not even in the midfield, because they've given that to Ham. She should be fine. And then Roberts against Adelaide, she's going to struggle, but I don't remember if she's named on ball or not. Let me just double check that, and let's see what she's doing there. Here we go, and you've got, she's not named on ball. You've got McCarthy and Swanson named on ball, and she's named in the forward line, but I expect her to roll through the midfield for a significant period of time, so I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. And it's Roberts. There's not many other forwards that I'd want other than Too Good, but I just couldn't get to Too Good this year. So anyway, that is pretty much one of the last videos that will be going up for the YouTube for the AFLW season. I think I will still do the round recaps, but I know that they're not going to get terribly much views, so I know that's going to happen, as it did with the men's. I mean, the men's was like a 200% drop off in the views in the last round. So hopefully you guys actually stick around for that, even though I know that's not going to be the case, sadly. Just because it's not, they're not really needed. And then in the next week we get to, I guess we'll do a review of the women's, as well as probably actually taking the time just to go through the men's as well, even though that was a while ago. And yeah, I probably will do better documentation of stuff of the men's season next year so that I can have a better review. But we'll go back through and we'll see what occurred there, etc., and why some things were bad, etc., and what we learnt overall. And then I guess we move on to the BBL season, as well as probably I probably have some time for some draft videos as well, AFL draft, etc., and we'll move on to that before the draft is on the 20th, I believe. So we still got another 2.5 weeks. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.